Episode 141. Are these comics going to make good film and television shows? We have Batman and Robin running towards the end of Joshua Williamson's run. We have Falling in Love on the Path to Hell. And we have Mark Spear's Monsters. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. My name is Frank Zanca. I am your host. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. So yeah, we're going to jump into this in just a second, but remember to give me a like and subscribe if you can. I am trying to grow the channel out. I do this series not only for people that are collecting comics, but for those of you that just want to keep up to date about what Marvel, DC, and the independents are doing. In case they do pop up on television, you can say, yeah, I saw that on Frank's channel. And but if you are collecting, yeah, let me know what you are collecting as well. If you want to jump to a specific comic, the description below has all of the chapter links to it. And you can jump around the video. So yeah, but also I'm going to try to get this out by Tuesday morning. And I'm doing my class on Tuesday night starting, so if this does come up, then you still have a chance to jump in if you want to learn about filmmaking and how to write to a certain budget, how to produce, how to schedule, budget, all the stuff that's in the paperwork side, how to deal with the unions, all that stuff. That's all the stuff I cover. But definitely you can check out the link below in the description. You'll see Eventbrite link. Plus, Mark Spears, which we're going to be reviewing today. In fact, he doesn't know I'm even reviewing his comic. He did all the classic Mythlords classic monster art for the card game we just did together. He does covers for Marvel and DC. He just did a Spawn cover. He did a Lobo cover for Action Comics. A lot of good stuff. He's really, really talented, and we're doing a card game together. It's going to be launching on Kickstarter. You can check out the link below for the Kickstarter link, so it'll notify you when we launch in October, because, of course, we're taking advantage of Halloween. But anyway, check that out in the description below. Let's jump into Batman and Robin. This is number 12. You would think that by 12 they would finish up a storyline. But this is the end of Joshua Williamson's run. I am excited for the next run. I forgot who's on it. But a pretty decent writer, I think, is coming on this. Philip Kennedy Johnson, I believe. See, it came to me. But anyway, so this is, they're on Dinosaur Island. I don't even know where they are. It's not really the Savage Land, because that's Marvel, but that type of island. And Bane is there. And they took a bat, literally a big bat is what they rode on, or at least what Damian rode on to get there. His girlfriend's there, who's got invisibility powers for her suit. And, yeah, it's a little bit all over the place. But the big thing to know is that Bane killed Alfred in front of Damian. This was years ago. Everybody thought they would bring back Alfred, but they never have. And I think, well, then again, in the regular continuity, Batman, Bruce Wayne is poor. All his money was stolen. Now there's no Alfred. He doesn't. I mean, it's kind of crazy about what they did to Batman. They totally deconstructed him, so he's not even the same character anymore. Not happy with any of that, so I'm not collecting any of that. This is the only Batman book I'm getting. But anyway, I think the artwork is finally good, because this anime-type artwork is what used to be on the inside. At least they changed it, so it's a little bit better now. So we start out with this flashback of Damian with Alfred. And he's leaving, I'm a bother, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, you're not a bother, Master Damian, I swear. And then we switch to the action, where he's riding a dinosaur with a sword toward Bane. We have no idea what Bane's doing here at this time, but there's also the Cobras are also there. Not from G.I. Joe, but the Cobras with a K. So that's Bane's daughter there that has Batman by the back of his neck. So he hits her with the point of his mask and breaks the eyepiece. And she starts, just monologuing about the fact that Cobra was about to make Venom serum, and it was going to be a total inhibition. They were going to be very primal, and Bane didn't want this going out, so he started destroying it. And then we switch back to Damian totally crashing into Bane with the dinosaur, and Bane basically killing the dinosaur, and Damian coming down with the sword, which he blocks with bones that are attached to the side of his arm. Okay. And he's like, hiya! And we have Damian that is now doing another flashback of his new costume, and he starts telling, him the story of Bruce and how he was as a kid, etc. Then we switch back to the fight scene where Damian's just barely getting away, and he's flipping around, but then he's like Hulk smash, grabbing his leg and literally smashing him into the ground. I don't think he'd be getting back up from that. He'd be like, because the wind would be knocked out of you at very least. But according to this, he pummels Robin. He's just like, go back. I don't think Robin would survive that, much less be getting back up. So I'm kind of calling bullshit on that. If he was hit 4 times or 5 times, well, no, it's like 1, 2, 3 times. I don't think he'd be getting up from a fist that's like bigger than his face. I don't know. So anyway, we switch back to the flashback. He gives them the costume, etc. Damian's starting to win the fight, and he's behind him, and he chokes him. We have Batman basically being told what's going on by, I think her name is Vengeance or something. But anyway, she gets zapped, and it's by Damian's girlfriend, and he's like, yeah, I knew you there the whole time. Meanwhile, she basically saved him. I don't know. Everything's kind of weird. So anyway, you can see Robin there up on the tree, and he comes down, and it looks like he breaks his leg and is about to chop him with the sword, and he literally has the sword digging into his neck, and he's just like, go ahead and do it. That's what I've been waiting for anyway. I've been waiting for a little bit of peace now. At least it's you, blah, blah, blah. And we continue with the growing relationship with Alfred. And he's like, you took him from me! The one person that really respected and loved me! I will kill you now! And he's like, well, go ahead. I'll dip my head for you, and you just go ahead and do it. And you see that he's in this panel over here that he's literally digging into his flesh. So he's going to need some stitches. But instead, Robin puts the sword into the tree, and he's like, this is not what Alfred would have wanted. So I will spare you, but know that I have beat you. And don't you... I don't know how he beat him, because he would have... his face would be like mush. But don't you come back. You get exiled. No, he says, I'm going to take you in, and you're going to spend your time behind bars. That's what he says. And Batman comes up and says, I'm so proud of you, son. Then I don't know how Batman didn't know that she had a gun. What is Batman doing in this? He's just letting this chick get away with just about anything. And she shoots him in the neck with a dart. It's obviously that new Venom stuff, and I don't know what... This is actually, to me, it looks pretty silly. It looks pretty silly. But anyway, he's now pumped up with Venom. Okay. I know a lot of people like this issue, but I was like, the only thing I liked was him not killing Bane and saying this is what Alfred would have wanted. I like that. I like that little twist, but other than that, I'm waiting for Josh Williamson to get off this book. He knows how to write the relationship between Bruce and Damian, but that's about the extent of it. All right, so let's jump into Falling in Love on the Path to Hell. I've now gotten this 3 issues. This is 3 issues in. I have no idea how many issues is going. This is Jerry Duggan, who's very hit or miss, mostly miss for that matter. But I was intrigued by the idea of having all these people that are from different times or different parts of the world, all in purgatory together. I thought that was interesting, especially when you pit a cowboy and a samurai together, a female samurai, and you know that they're going to fall in love. I found that interesting. Unfortunately, that's not what we're getting. So they realize they're in purgatory, and the dead keep coming up from hell into purgatory. So every night they have to fight them off. They have to fend them off every night. Just a horde of dead people, like zombies, but faster. And I'm just not buying this. And then he's using his pistol, but it doesn't even explain to you that every night he's replenished with bullets. He'd be out of bullets pretty freaking quick. So anyway, there's one of the creatures that's now kind of trying to get away. He looks like he's half cut in half, and the other guy's like, we'll play with him later, just leave him. And he's like, no, and he shoots him. So then they go back to their little camp. They don't live with the other people, even though they're really not talking because they speak two different languages. Or maybe they speak the same language now. She just doesn't speak. Not that I've ever seen it. Because she understands him because he's trying to shave and he's having problems with his hand now. I don't know. Maybe he's got carpal tunnel. I don't know. And she starts to help him, and he's like, that really hurt. And then she shaves him, or at least half of him. And he's like, maybe you can do the other half, but then she disappears. So we have a lot of weird stuff going on. It says when people die, that they put them in this thing, and we see a lot of dick pics in this one. So there's a lot of dick pics. No female nudity, but we have dick pics. So, I mean, the world building is kind of cool, and that dude is the leader of all these guys, and he's none too happy that the other two kind of live on their own. They're not living together, like living like within feet apart. And, she goes to hunt, and for some reason in purgatory there's animals around that she can eat. I don't really understand what's going on. Why would you need to eat in purgatory? But anyway, so she lets it live, and instead she goes fishing. I'm going fishing. Oh, look at me. I got me some sushi. Oh, no, man. And, he's wandering around, drawing shit. The story is, this is what the story is. I'm halfway through the book already, and do you have a story here so far? I don't see one. So, then now we're at night, so the dead the dead from hell are gonna start swarming, and he's having a problem with his hand, and he's like, I'm out of here. And he's like, oh, you're not going anywhere. And he's like, well, make me. And he beats the crap out of him, and he goes to leave. I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, the artwork is very stylized, but not bad. And he's like, yeah, we're going to have to take care of those two. I don't like them living alone. I gave them a chance, but now he's not fighting. Screw that. Go kill him. So they send 3 guys over to beat him up, which they do, in purgatory. Again, why is this any different than real life? I mean, the only thing this allowed him to do is to have a bunch of people from different sides of the world together. I don't know. It doesn't really work. So anyway, they beat the crap out of him. Then they go to rape him, I guess. And that shot there, he's got his dick out. I don't know what's going on here, man. What is Jerry Duggan's thing with dicks? I don't know. But anyway, so she comes up and saves him and chops the guy's dick off. Again, we can see the dick in his hand now. And she chops the other guy's head off. And she's like, do you want your dick rid of? Oh, no. And then she hits one guy with the arrow, too, in the dick. Because there's a lot of dicks here. A lot of dicks here. I think this might be my last issue because this one completely turned me off for not just the dicks, but for everything. So I think she sends the other guy back after pulling the arrow out of him, and he's like, "Thank you for saving me." I don't know, man. Why? How can you be killed or even wounded in purgatory? I don't understand. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm done. I was intrigued, and now I'm not. And now I am not. Make a good film or television show? No, not at all. Not at all. I was on a maybe because I was intrigued, but it's gone off the rails, man. Off the rails. All right, so let's jump into Mark Spear's Monsters. This is obviously going to look familiar, considering I think this is, yeah, that's the same piece of art that's on the side of our box. All right, so let's jump into this. And I didn't know if I was going to review this or not, because if it was bad, I knew the artwork would be decent, but if it was bad, I didn't want this to be out there where I could piss him off. But thankfully, it's actually pretty good. So I didn't know if he could write or not, and I was wondering if he was just going to throw the kitchen sink in here because he has obviously all the monsters. So literally in the first issue, he could have thrown the kitchen sink in where it could have been completely diluted and not even telling any story. But fortunately, he didn't do any of those things. But anyway, there's a vault that somebody's looking for, which is kind of reminds me of the Borderlands movie. But nobody could get into it, and it kind of just went into myth. So we start out with this guy who is going to commit suicide. And again, the artwork is very good and very kind of 3D-ish. And the phone rings. So he goes to answer the phone. But we don't know who was on it or anything like that. And we don't know if this is even the same guy. But anyway, these two cops are investigating a missing girl and instead find this other girl. And they're like, you think it's linked? And the guy says, I hope not. So we switch over here where I guess this guy Locke, no pun intended, which is her father, I think. That he's the only one that knows the location or how to get into the vault. I think it's her father. But anyway, so he also has, which I really wish was a different name, but he has this black suited guy with a hat, with a cape. So it's kind of Zorro with a full face mask. And he is been protecting the family for like a generation. So they're worried about him coming up, but he's like, he's got to be dead by now. So obviously he's pretty old. But he's like, well, where's Locke? And I guess the old woman is going to tell him. But then, like, what about the Slayer? And that's how that all comes up. So anyway, we come up with this, and I guess he's watching Evil Dead or Night of the Living Dead, and he sees this creature out the window, this kid. I don't know how that connects yet because it just jumps away from that. So it obviously whatever is going to be set up for issue 2. So anyway, he was a knock on a door. Knock, knock, knock. He's like, where's Fat Anthony? And he's like, no, it's Big... Oh, where's Fat Tony? He's like, no, it's Big Anthony. I guess they're trying to be PC because he doesn't like that name. And he says, I'm going to go see him whether I have to go through you or not. So the guy invites him in, and they go... I mean, look at the lighting on that. It's all really good. And he comes up the stairs, and he's like, I was told to kill you, and it's the perfect place to do it. I think the gun's a little small there for his hand. I think the gun should be bigger. But anyway, so the guy bends his fingers back and says, yeah, that was really a bad move. I know I might be slow, but I ain't that slow. And then he shoves a stake in his eye. and not the kind that's filet mignon. I'm talking about the wooden one. And he goes up the stairs and he says, well, I'm a little out of practice, but I'm pretty sure I can fuck you guys all up. And then we go into London. So everything in black and white is, of course, a flashback. And it's a flashback of Van Helsing and his team discussing how they're going to beat Dracula, and now that Dracula is weakened. So we have the cowboy guy, and I guess Mr. Hyde is here. Mr. Hyde's like, no, I promised my wife, or girlfriend, I don't know which either one, that I was not going to take the formula again, so sorry, I'm out. And as this guy's having the conversation, I really like that shot where Dracula is literally flying through the window. I thought that was really cool. And he's like, oh! And his hand is through him. I don't know if you can see that or not. And I would have really liked to have the heart in his hand instead. But anyway, I thought that was pretty good. So anyway, Dracula's like, Van Helsing. It's almost like the Fright Night thing. You have to have faith to have that thing work. And you do not have that faith. And again, the artwork is really good. I like that panel. And you don't really see him bite him, but I assume that he bites him because in the next panel or next page he looks like it. But anyway, he drops whatever the silver crucifix. Yeah, see how Dracula's got blood on him now? So I assume that he bit Van Helsing. And he's like, it was all a trap! And the Slayer comes up, and Van Helsing stabs him in the back, and he's holding his neck. So again, I think that he got bit. But yes, he's like, we will now bind you! He's like, no, you will not get me! I am Count Dracula! And anyway, they bury him alive, or semi-alive, or undead, however you want to say it. And they hope that nobody digs him back up. They leave the stake in him. But I thought if you cut his head off and put, he can't heal or whatever. But then they switch over to this guy who's making a phone call. And he's like, Dracula's back! Dracula's back! And he's like, oh no, it's a full moon! And So would it make a good film or television show? Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty cool. You almost got like Blade, and then you have him teaming up with Van Helsing in the past, and we haven't even got into the vault thing yet, and Dracula flying through the window and all that. I think it's pretty good, man. So let's do a recap. So yeah, I think I was really thinking it was going to be bad, and it actually really surprised me. Maybe my threshold was low, or my expectations were low, so it was when I saw that it was good. But I think it's really good. Anyway, if you haven't read it, he's got like 8 of them. I don't know if he's releasing them, one at a time or what's going on there. But if you haven't picked that up, I suggest you do. And yes, I paid for it, by the way. He didn't give it to me for free. I paid for it through Kickstarter. Anyway, Falling in Love to the Path to Hell. I think I'm outie on this one. Bye-bye, Jerry. You lost the client with this one. You lost a reader. I've had enough. And Batman and Robin, there's a lot. Well, we're going to see a Batman and Robin movie anyway, but it's not going to be this story. But it is going to be Damian, which I really don't know how James Gunn is going to do it by skipping over Dick. That means no Nightwing. And then you're going to skip over Red Hood as well? I don't think you can do that. Jason Todd. Yeah, so you can't skip over 2 Robins. You could skip over Tim Drake because they've made him superfluous. That character just died. There's no reason for Tim Drake anymore. Except for the fact that he was in Titans Go. But otherwise, there's no reason for him. All right, I've gone too long on this one. Sorry about that. But anyway, that's my ratings for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Remember, too, that if I can get this out on time, we're going to have the class tonight, starting tonight, for 1 hour for 3 nights in a row. All one package will be one price, but it's three sessions. So if you can sign up for that, again, the description for the Eventbrite is in the description below. And now that you've seen some of the artwork that's in these cards, I think you should definitely pick this up if you like that kind of world that Mark is building. I capture it all in the card game. And again, the Kickstarter in the description below, the link is there where you can sign up and get notified for when we launch in October. Anyway, definitely check that out. We're just hit over 350 people that are signed up right now. So definitely join us. All right. Remember to give me that like, give me that subscribe if you can. I am trying to grow the channel out. And also check out some of my other videos as well. And I will see you on the next episode. Thanks for watching, guys.